Welcome to episode number 302 of the Keep Up podcast.
Where it's Turkey Day, baby!
It's not yet.
No, but sometimes. Remember?
What do you mean sometimes?
Sometimes. Well, remember when I was wearing the Santa hat for like 8 of our videos that went into like February and
Yeah, I do remember that.
so that's what this is going to be. These videos, this podcast will be out hopefully before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it will be.
But future clips may have Turkey Day, and we'll be like in January, February.
That's why I decided everything comes too fast, right? Like we're already. Have you got the holiday bug? Are you there?
No.
Dude, I am. I stole Mom's Christmas mug for my coffee.
Is it stealing if it's just a mug that anybody could use? He's slurping.
I mean, I didn't ask for permission.
I guess not.
And I decided, I was like, listen, I'm going to forget to wear my one of a kind turkey shirt.
It is so beautiful.
There's nothing I've wanted to know more than the origin of this shirt. It doesn't look like something that was sold in stores, but Tim made the point that it looks too well thought out and put together for it to just be like a custom shirt.
Way too much effort because like the lettering, the turkey picture, even the tie-dye-ness to it is very like, feels like someone professional made it. But I don't know. I don't know
either, man.
I don't know about it. But it's good that you're taking advantage of wearing these clothes early.
I got to do it, man. I also realized I have so many Christmas shirts, and I got a month and a half. Maybe into January. Can you get away with Christmas shirts into January if it's snowing out?
Yeah, I think you can. As long as it's cold, you can do it.
Yeah.
Because that's what determines what I wear is like I love wearing sweatshirts and long sleeve stuff, but it has to be cold.
Right. Oh, yeah, of course.
Because any other time I'm sweating.
But I'm talking like Christmas themed.
Yeah.
I got like a Die Hard Nakatomi Plaza Christmas sweater. I've got that Spawn Christmas cover shirt. I've got, what else? That turtle sweater I got last year.
Yes.
What'd you get? You got a sweater too?
Yeah, Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic sweater.
You got to start wearing them, dude.
I know. It's still too warm, I think.
Yeah, it is very warm where we are. It's like,
although it was pretty cold the last couple of days.
so dude, we had a day last week where it was like almost 70 and then it was bitter cold like the next morning. Felt like winter. And now we're somewhere in the middle. I don't know.
I just want it to be consistently cold.
Yeah, we're getting there.
But I love summer.
Oh, whoops. Well, it's definitely not summer.
No, I know. I'm just saying like I don't want to say I dislike the summer and the heat. Because I'm a heat boy.
Is that why you're dressed like the sun today?
I am not only am I dressed like the sun, but I'm dressed like my future child.
I don't know what that means, but
Cheese Limb.
For Cheese Limb?
Yeah.
Cheese Limb.
That'll be his name.
Cheese Limb.
Cheese Limb.
Have you ever heard the term cheese bones?
No.
Like to refer to cheese sticks?
As cheese bones?
Yeah.
I hate it.
Okay, I'd never heard that either. I should have known you hadn't because we grew up together. But Rachel, my wife, her whole family refers to cheese sticks as cheese bones.
Cheese bones?
Yeah, and the first time I heard her say it, I was like, hey, what are you talking about right now?
Oh.
Yeah, the cheese sticks are cheese bones.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of get it.
How do you eat the cheese bones? Are you a peely or are you just big bite boy?
I do both. I've told you this before, and you're always mad at me, but I take a bite. I take a bite first.
Yes.
And it loosens up the tendons of the cheese. And then it's an easy peel situation.
That's even worse than when you describe it as tendons because it is like ripping apart flesh from the bone. There's no bone in the middle, but...
That'd be weird if it was. What could you put a cheese stick around that would be exciting at the end? Just a
hot dog. That's what they do for like Korean hot dogs and stuff, or corn dogs. What are they called?
Isn't it? Oh, yeah. The cheese is around...
Well, sometimes they do like the cheese on top and the hot dog on the bottom, or they put the cheese through the hot dog, or they put it around it. It's so many different variations.
Had cheese in things, but what do you put in cheese? That's weird.
In cheese. Yeah, put a hot dog in cheese.
Yeah, I guess so. I wouldn't be mad at that. It'd be a tiny hot dog, no, it'd be a big cheese.
Yeah, it'd be a big hot dog.
To get in cheese?
Yeah.
And then you need a bigger cheese to get the hot dog in the cheese.
No, you can just have the normal size cheese. Bones.
Welcome to the Keep Up Podcast, where I'm Brett and Tim is Tim.
That's me.
We talk about all the things we consume, be it media or food. And I bite the cheese and then I peel it.
I'm a peeler.
Because I like how do you do Kit Kats?
Just you break it apart and eat the individual Kit Kat.
I like one bite of it because I like the big, you know what I mean?
This is why we're enemies, Brett.
But how do you eat an Oreo? How many bites?
I'm a twist and like take off the cream.
Dude.
Guy.
Do you have nothing else to do with your time? One bite, done. Whole cookie.
I like the experience.
You're dismantling it.
Because all other cookies are just the cookie itself. With the Oreo, you get the twist.
With Chips Ahoy, do you take the chips out and you separate them?
That's Chips Ahoy is usually a 2-biter.
What?
Yeah,
they're even smaller.
I like to dunk, let it drown for a bit, and then go.
I drown 2 at a time. All cookies that I can, I drown 2 at a time. And then just
you're a double cookie man.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
It's because I'm a texture guy. Reese's cups, like a regular size. How many bites?
2.
1.
No.
1 and done.
Because it's over.
Sometimes I bite it to look inside and just be like, what's in there?
What do we got? Even though you've had 100 of them in your life, 1,000 of them.
But one day I'm going to look in there.
How many Reese's do you think you've had?
In my life?
Yeah.
These are numbers that actually interest me.
Yes.
I like that, or occasionally I'm watching a movie and I'm like, how many times have I seen this movie? And I can't even imagine. You have to kind of break it down. Like how many do you have roughly per year? And here, I don't know.
I think I'm under 1,000. I might even be
in your life.
Yeah, because I didn't like Reese's until I was older. Because, I was horrifically picky. So I didn't like peanut butter for a long time. I would only eat like Crunch and Bunch of Crunch. Like there were so many things I wouldn't eat. So Reese's is like I wouldn't say relatively new at this point, but it wasn't until like I was like 11 or 12 that I started.
See, that's an important factor. I've probably been destroying these things since I was like 3.
Since you were a little baby.
Yeah. It's fun. It's funny
so
to
I
think of those numbers.
With a lot of food, I might be on a much smaller scale, much lower number.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't start eating things.
How many chicken nuggets do you think you've had in your life?
Now
that's got to be a crazy
that
number.
That number doesn't exist.
Isn't it weird that there's like nugget kids? Like everybody knows a kid who like nuggets was the only thing that they would definitely eat all the time. You were a little more eclectic than that, but
yeah, I would throw like a grilled cheese in there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even eat sandwiches. I'm dying for the longest time.
I'm dying.
I wouldn't eat anything. What I would eat is Lunchables, maybe.
That's crazy that you wouldn't eat sandwiches, but a Lunchable was passable.
Yeah, I could have the bologna by itself, the cheese by itself.
Super weird.
And then the bread would just be like toast or whatever.
And to just say no sandwiches, what if someone made a chicken nugget sandwich? Would you have eaten it?
Mm-mm. Wow. No, I was a freak. I was a freak in nature.
Freak in nature, dude.
You know what else is a freak in nature?
Tell me what.
Drinking water while we're about to transition into a new category.
It's good to drink water, and you should drink more of it. I have just really upped my coffee and soda intake lately, so I guess
thought you've been living the healthy lifestyle, bro.
Oh, dude, I've been in the zone, but it doesn't mean I've perfected everything all at once, and I'm leaving water for way later.
That'll be a future Brett problem to solve.
Occasionally, I have the thought that's like, oh, I should drink water, and I dislike drinking water so much that I have to just like smash a huge glass or bottle of it to
That's probably why you hate it, because every time you drink it, it's like this massive, like,
I have nightmare habits built around drinking water. I'm like, why do I hate it?
I always have to drink so much when I have it. Dude,
I don't know.
It's so good. It's satiating.
No, but I like
it. Feels nice.
The way I associate
have it cold or hot. Doesn't matter.
The weird thing is, or maybe this isn't weird. Maybe this is why I love drinks. We've had this conversation.
You're a drink man.
If you're new here, you should know. I like drinks.
He likes the liquid.
I'm a drink guy.
He's a liquid snake.
But I associate them all with different things. So like coffee and tea, I'll sip on forever. Rachel always makes fun of me for how long I take to drink my coffee because I just like having little sips of it.
You like to savor the moment.
I love to savor it, And then with certain meals, I always associate drinks with, like a certain soda with a certain type of meal, or a certain like soda with like a certain type of meal. I can't get pizza and Coke out of my head right now.
That is a classic combination.
Yeah. So, but I eat a lot more than just pizza. I was trying to think of something to diversify the example.
Do you have like milk with anything?
I really don't. Because I mostly drink almond milk now, and that's just to wash down sweets. That's usually when I do it.
I was watching this video the other day of this guy who like does these marathons, and it's all the food he eats like to prepare for these marathons. And he kept calling milk raw milk. Is there a difference between like like 2% milk and raw milk.
I think raw milk is maybe like is it unpasteurized where it's like it's straight from the nipple and you don't do anything weird to it?
That's why every time he's like, and some raw milk, and he kept chugging it. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think raw milk, is that the same as whole milk maybe?
I don't know. I don't know my milk things.
You guys know stuff about milk? Let us know about the milk because I don't.
But I like milk in all of its forms.
I do too. I'm a milk fan. I thought for a while I didn't really like cow's milk anymore. And I was wrong about that.
Do you like, and we've been talking food long enough, so we should probably move on. But
I disagree.
Okay, we can keep talking. I don't care. When you're dipping cookies in milk,
yeah.
Does that work with like almond milk and stuff?
It does work with almond milk, but that's kind of where I draw the line.
Yeah.
But it depends. There's different kinds. Like I've done it in vanilla almond milk.
Okay.
That's an enhanced experience.
Clutch.
But also, like, whole milk feels nostalgic to me. And it's a bit of a fuller, cookies and whole milk,
right.
dude.
That's what Santa drinks.
It's true. It's what the OGs do. So the only thing I really associate water with, back to my last point, is like exercise. So, but lately I have been working out more, so I think I've been drinking a little bit more
just to
water,
level out all your sweatiness. Because I can't imagine after working out like drinking a full soda.
No, I don't want to,
or coffee or something.
Right. But throughout my day, when I'm like, if I'm trying to avoid like snacking on something or whatever, it's a soda or a coffee. I'm never like, let me drink water.
Have you compared what a snack would be compared to a soda? Because you're probably getting as many calories from a soda as you
No,
would
I only
maybe a
drink
snack.
diet or zero.
Oh,
it's literally zero compared to, dude, when I snack, I'm probably cutting 500 calories.
You're saving. Hey, if that's what works, dude, do it all day.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I do.
It's smart.
I do it all day.
He do's.
I guess you're right. Maybe that's enough food.
We can get to food later. I do have something in food to
You
talk
do?
about.
Oh, you do? I actually want to hear about that.
Yeah, I haven't told the story yet. Speaking
of stories,
let's get into
television.
Yeah, okay.
Television. You want to do your thing or my thing?
What's your thing?
I didn't tell you yet. It's a surprise.
Oh, let me get one out of the way first.
Oh my gosh, she's so selfish.
Because
comment below. Tim
this is the Tim
selfish.
podcast. It's called the Keep Up, but if you look, the letter T.
Yep.
Is in it, and that's my name. There's not one B in it. So it's clearly my podcast.
And there's 2 T's.
Yeah.
If you can include podcast.
Podcast, yeah.
There's no M. Are any of the letters of my name in it? Yeah, E.
Yep.
And then the T's.
Technically, if we do my full name, we have the O. Timothy.
Oh, I thought you meant your last name.
No. We don't dox our last
Yeah, all right.
names.
Let's do all the things that you want
My
to do.
show, my rules.
Yeah. All right, let's go. I'm ready.
And I don't even really want to talk about what I'm about to talk about because it left me so just like gross.
Oh, why?
It made me feel gross.
Tim, tell me why.
And general reviews also.
All right,
Shut up.
Scooby-Doo.
General reviews,
Draggy.
People also felt gross after finishing this show. And this is actually requested for, at the very least, me to watch, but also to bring it up to you months and months and months ago.
Okay.
So
who requested? Do you remember?
Pixie Dream Dust was like, you should watch this. And I was like, heck yeah, I will.
Hello, my friend.
And it's been like 5 months since you told me that. So here I am.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a little show. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
Called Baby Reindeer.
Oh, the Rudolph origin.
Yes, this is the story of baby Rudolph and how he not only got rejected by all the toys and the elves and the snowmen and everything, but he also gets stalked by another reindeer, and it won't leave him alone. But he also kind of likes that he's being stalked, and so he keeps helping the stalker do stalking things, but he also hates it, and so they like stalk each other.
Reindeer and stockings, how seasonally appropriate.
Merry Christmas. Happy Turkey Day!
Turkey Day!
You're watching the Keep Up on YouTube.
Man, it sure has been an excellent video so far.
I agree. I think I'd even like, subscribe, and maybe even leave a comment.
Wow, what wonderful suggestions of things you could do while or after watching this video.
You can also visit our merch store where you get some Keep Up merch.
And back to the show! I thought this was a movie. That's how little I know about what Baby Reindeer is.
It should be, because I did not want to sit through all, 8 or 9 episodes
So I thought this was
of torture.
okay. All right, tell me. I don't know. I know nothing about this show.
So Baby Reindeer is the story of a man
Okay.
in the great land of the United Kingdom, sometimes referred to as England,
Right.
who is a rising comedian, and he's trying to just make it out in the world.
Okay.
But in the meantime, he's working at a bar and just trying to make ends meet.
We love that.
And he meets a lady. Not just a lady. Some.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
Okay, keep going.
He meets this lady.
A lady.
She comes to the bar, and he feels bad for her because she's. Who's that lady?
Sexy lady.
I don't know the words.
You just say, who's that lady again?
Who's
But
that
okay,
lady?
so he works at a bar with a lady.
Yes, and she shows up. She's looking sad. He feels really bad for her.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? I'm going to give you this drink. I'm
For
going to
free.
give you for free.
For free.
For free, because she's just looking sad.
Riz.
And that is the beginning of the end. It just goes crazy, and she starts stalking him. So this is a story of a man living with a stalker.
This is a story of a man.
I'm never getting through this, am I? There's no hope.
You know what song that was?
You know how hard I try to be eloquent
You know the song Story of a
on
Girl?
this podcast?
This
and
is
every
the
time
story
I
of
get
a girl
interrupted. I'm not trying to say
drown the whole world.
I'm not trying to hesitate.
And while she looks so
I'm trying to
sad
speak
and lonely there,
fully
I absolutely love her.
In good English.
When she smiles. I think that's the 4 Year Strong version. Do you know the original band?
No.
9 Days. You know that song though?
So
Story
there's
of
a
Girl?
band called 9 Days.
Yeah.
And there's one called 4 Years Strong.
Oh yeah. And they did a cover album. It's great.
Why are they both time bands?
I mean, that's a good question. Okay. You're right. I never thought about that.
Okay.
It's very weird.
Dude, I told you about that song.
So this is
I introduced you to that song. That's how well I know it.
I
I sang it all the time as a kid.
Okay. Cried a river and drowned the whole world.
Anyways, it's a show.
So, this is where I cut you off.
Yeah.
This is the story of a man.
Yeah. That's it. It's the story of a man who lives in a pineapple under the sea.
Oh!
Brett, you killed my flow.
I'm sorry. I got you back there. Bring it back.
Yeah, I can't think of what I was going to say now.
Here's how it starts. This is... I'll tell you what you said.
Here we go.
And that is the beginning of the end, because this is the story of a man
who... I lost it, Brett.
No, she gets the drink for free.
She gets the drink for free.
And this is the story of a man.
This is the story of a man who is
stalked. Okay.
And
I'm guessing because I don't know. I assumed the guy would do the stalking.
No, so
but that's sexist of me.
Yeah, it's actually one of those reverse stories, and that is a big element of the show itself. Oh, I got a fuzzy.
Dude, it's a good one too. Like you can see that on camera.
Yo.
So I'm not trying to distract you. I'm just protecting you from fuzzies.
Long story short, this is a show where a guy gets stalked by this woman.
Okay.
And it's really weird because it's like a psychological study on just how some people who are super lonely take terrible things and try to make it part of themselves, if that makes sense. So him being stalked in any other scenario would be horrific and people would be like, go to the police and deal with it. He is enjoying it because he is very lonely.
Oh, he's the lonely one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She is also very lonely too, but that's a whole dynamic.
Your description just reminded me of, does it feel like Nightcrawler at all?
No.
No? Okay.
Not really, but I see where you're going with it.
Because, like, in that, great movie, by the way.
Yeah, Nightcrawler's great.
Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of the odd loner, and the way he interacts with all things is, like, different than, I guess, your average person would.
Yes.
So that's kind of what it reminded me of. But that sounds interesting, that they're both lonely, and then that makes the stalking relationship something?
Yes, because, again, it's portrayed and it's pretty much consistent throughout the show. He seems relatively normal.
Okay.
Like he speaks normally. He has a girlfriend and he's like trying to live his life, but he also has this stalker. But what my problem with the show,
tell me,
is it's so frustrating to watch because he enjoys the stalking so much that he keeps putting himself in these terrible situations, both destroying his own life, but also like giving mixed signals to the stalker, which her name's Martha. And it is...
That's my mom's name.
No, that's my mom's name. Wait a minute. So I don't know if I could recommend this show.
So it's frustrating because he like is allowing it to happen, and you're like, as the viewer, you're seeing what it should be creepy and like threatening.
Yes.
And this guy's just like,
Because he even says verbally, like, I need this to stop. I hate this. But then the actions he does not represent what he is saying.
I see. Okay.
So he is going even against. So it's hard. It's frustrating to watch as a viewer because you're like, just make the right decision.
Right.
Do the right thing or get her out of your life. Like, just say something to her. And he's constantly just keeping her in his life. And she keeps like showing up in places she shouldn't be. And she's crazy. It's that story's cool, but everything else around it's frustrating. Which later on he gets like a whole backstory that kind of gives more reason to why he is the way he is.
Sure.
And so that's what's interesting about the show is it's always evolving. Every episode you get like more pieces of the puzzle to be like, okay, I don't really get why he's this way, but at least I know. At least I have the knowledge. I just don't agree with it or I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating as a viewer, and I don't know by the end if I liked it or not.
I'm trying to think of something similar. Like, I feel like I've watched things and been like, that was great. But it was so unenjoyable to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's good, it's well done. The story, like you describing the story to me, I'm like, I'm very interested to watch that play out. But I understand what you're saying about it just being frustrating and like there's nothing likable happening.
Yeah,
really.
It just leaves you uncomfortable. Like at the end of every episode, you want to see what happens, and it's because it's giving you such like a juicy story that you're like, I gotta see where it goes. But it is so just like, it's so sad. It's so bad. It's so. It's just everything that you don't want to sit and watch.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's good. That's the problem. Is it's good. Like
Sure.
it's made well. The acting's done well. It's like, you know, all other British shows where it's very much like just high quality, good entertainment.
It's true. Yeah, there is a standard there. Man, that's a tough one. I mean, I'll say right now, I just want to watch Christmas movies, so I'm probably not going to watch Baby Reindeer.
It's got reindeer in the title.
It's true.
Is there a Christmas part?
You're not going to sell me on it,
No,
bud.
I don't think so. No, that's one you have to watch like on your laptop away from people.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's a hard TVMA.
A lot of butts.
No, not nudity, just verbally.
Verbal butts.
Yeah, verbal butts.
Sorry, I said it twice, guys.
It's okay.
Not the B word 2 times.
Dude, not on this rated PG podcast.
Not anymore. I have to put the mature tag on it.
Yeah.
Or explicit.
So I think I'm going to have to give it... I think just to save everyone the trauma and the pain,
yeah.
I might have to give it a sleeper.
This is so interesting to me because I think about this sometimes. Obviously, the you know, spice of reviewing things and watching different people review things online is you kind of get to know that reviewer's likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
So it comes down to like you can make a recommendation or not based on how you felt watching it. Like it makes sense to me that you're saying this was really good. Don't watch it. Like I get that
because it's a hard watch.
Yeah.
It's like it would not be something that I would walk up to like, you know, our sister or talk about it at like Thanksgiving or whatever. Like, did you catch Baby Reindeer? You could discuss things about it, and it is a discussable show, but it is something that you don't want to like tell someone to be like, no, I haven't seen it before. I should watch it. And it's like,
I wouldn't. Yeah.
You got to be in the right mind space for it.
Right. And you don't really know what that is. Like,
right.
what is
you
the
can't
right
really
mind
explain
space?
it. But, you know, to put my feelings and bias aside and how I personally felt about it, it is a good watch. It is a good show. Again, frustrating, and there's some very heavy, what do I want to say? Themes, very heavy themes that you don't see too much in media, at least described as much in detail as it was in this. So it is. I would recommend it if you're looking for something that's really dark and heavy. But I would still say a sleeper just because it is. I don't know who it's for, really.
Take it off the list.
Take it off.
There's plenty out there.
There's plenty. Just more happier things, or even there are dark things out there that are. Because the thing is, it's a TV series, so you have to sit through a lot.
You're
of
in it for a while.
Where if you watch like a sad or dark movie, it's only an hour and a half.
At least
2
it's
hours.
done, and you can go watch Ren and Stimpy or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So that's Baby Reindeer.
Baby Reindeer.
Brett, I believe you have something you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I want to bring this up briefly. Admittedly, not extremely prepped to talk about it, but you asked if there was anything I had in TV, and I realized I did just a lot. You know, a lot of what we watch, I have it planned out because I'm like, okay, I usually have a list I'm working through or whatever. Occasionally, something will sneak up on me, and you know what snuck up on me?
What
is
Sonic music?
To be fair, that's true. That snuck up on me.
You weren't ready for it.
But also, this Friday or tonight, if you're, this comes out, the same day.
Wow.
Of the Tyson versus Paul boxing match.
Oh.
Which is going to be live on Netflix. And in preparation for that, Netflix has put out an exclusive documentary called Countdown Tyson versus Paul.
Oh.
And it's, I haven't seen anything with this title card, but maybe they've done others. But it preceding the title, it says like a Netflix sports production or whatever. And they are calling Countdown a series. I don't think I've seen one before, so I was going to say this is the first of its kind. But obviously they plan on live events are a relatively new thing for Netflix. I think to date they've done the Chris Rock comedy special, a Joe Rogan one. Was Rogan's on Netflix?
I know, but hi Paddington.
And then, was there another thing?
I've never seen anything live on Netflix.
Yeah, so, I mean, it'll stream afterwards, but I watched Chris Rock's live, and I watched Rogan's special afterwards. I want to say there was one other thing that I could be forgetting. Apologies, let us know in the comments what I'm forgetting, because I think there's one other thing. Or maybe I'm thinking of this as the third, but this is the only sports show, sports event that I know of that's going to be live.
Yeah.
And what Countdown is a 3-episode documentary preceding it. So it's talking about their training. It's giving you a history on Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Because for anyone who's not privy to it, most people know who Tyson is. Jake Paul being one of the biggest YouTubers in history, and then transitioned into a fighter, both MMA and boxing. And as easy as he is as a target for ridicule and like how are you in this sport after just being some kid on YouTube, he is a good boxer. Like, he's a good fighter, and he's put the training in. But I am so excited for this fight because I can't imagine a world where the last fight Tyson fought, he lost, let alone to...
like a YouTube punk.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, because he is like a trash talker, and obviously Tyson is too, but Jake Paul's trash talk sounds like snotty little teenager trash talk.
Yeah.
Whereas Tyson's like a legend. You know what I mean? And obviously that's what's selling this event hugely, and the fact that it's happening at all. But I do believe the fight will probably be entertaining, but I literally can't imagine in my brain, like I can't picture Tyson falling to Jake Paul.
That would be... I couldn't even imagine it. Can't even like visualize how that would look like.
No, I really can't. And watching the documentary has been really, really cool because they put out the last episode on the... What is today? It was yesterday, but you guys aren't listening to this. Yeah. So they put the last episode out on the 12th, and it starts the countdown. And what's cool about this one, if you guys don't know, this fight was scheduled for July of this year, but Tyson had a health scare, so they moved it to November. So it starts before all of that, the documentary, and they have a literal countdown, like as a transition throughout the show. And when they get to the point of Tyson's health scare, the countdown goes way back up because the date got extended.
Oh, that's neat.
And then the last episode ends with 3 days until the fight, and it came out on the 12th. And it's just very, very well done.
Yeah.
Really brings you into like the gym with each of the fighters, what their mindset is, all that stuff. A very cool precursor to the fight. And for me, there's a bit of nostalgia attached to it because I watched fights as a kid with like my dad and I think our uncle watched some fights, and you used to do pay-per-view. Like, you'd have to pay for the big Saturday night fight or whatever.
And there's a chance it would have been like 5 minutes and the person would get knocked
That's
out.
It. Yeah,
and that
exactly.
would be that.
Right. And you would pay for it. You'd get the whole fight card. Like, you watch all the leading up events and then get to the main event. And I watched Tyson versus Holyfield where he bit off Holyfield's ear.
You watched that live?
Yeah. I watched it live. I remember being like, what is happening? And I think, if I remember correctly, I was like 10 years old. And so that was kind of like I remember where I was, what room I was in, what the TV looked like. It was a TV up in the corner, like a little tiny TV. And I remember my dad being like, he was like freaking out. And I was like, what's going on? Why is he bleeding? Like, he bit him?
What happened?
Can you do that in boxing? Like, I was like, I did not understand what was happening. So, Countdown is very, very cool. If you guys are just learning about Countdown on this podcast, then the fight has already happened. You probably already have heard about what's going on, because I can't imagine more taking headlines than the result of this fight, no matter how it goes. Do you have any history with watching boxing or any interest in this?
I've always been fascinated with boxing, but I've never really watched it or anything. I played Wii Boxing quite a lot.
Did you ever play Punch-Out?
Yes, I played Punch-Out.
Yeah.
So I've always liked it as a sport, and the idea of like taking hits versus like stamina control, and like there's a lot of thought that goes in. It's not just two guys punching each other. Each other in the face.
Right.
Sorry, I lost breath there. I was talking too much.
Got all worn out.
But yeah, but I've never really like sat and watched a fight or anything. Other like movies. I've seen movies about boxing.
Sure.
Everything about boxing except actually watching the sport.
The actual fights are so crazy because it really is. I mean, it's like any sport. Anything can happen. But that's the thing with action sports. And there's something special about boxing to me. I don't know if it's because it preceded MMA. I've never been a massive... I like MMA, but I have more of a history of watching boxing. And actually, not to any major degree, but actually doing it myself. So like some of the technique in like kickboxing and stuff like that it's so in depth. Like you said, it's not as simple as it seems. And that's one of the things that's really cool about this documentary is being pulled into the gym, hearing like Tyson's coaches talk about what it's like to train with him is just like, the dude is terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really hard not to see Mike Tyson as an absolute machine and Jake Paul as just a trash talker.
But how long has it been since he last fought?
Tyson?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Because I mean, sure, he
long
can train.
time.
Yeah, it's been, and he's older too.
Yeah.
Like I hope he wins. That's my.
Yeah, he's
hope.
almost 60. That's what everyone's saying is the age thing. But what they talk about in this documentary, which I haven't heard, but is that, or this is my first time hearing it. They say that in boxing, as a boxing athlete, power is the last thing to go. So you might lose a little bit of speed, things like that, your reaction time, but power is what Tyson is known for. Right. So he lands the right punch, and like Paul's head's coming off. So I don't know, man. I'm really curious.
I think he's going to try to bite the ear again. I think this will be his last chance.
Could you imagine?
To eat some human flesh.
Finally. This is what he's been waiting
Live
for.
on Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I do recommend the 3-episode documentary. The first 2 are like 40-something minutes. Last one's 35 minutes. And it's just a very cool, even if the fight has already happened, it might be an interesting experience seeing what happened and then going back and seeing where both their mindsets were. So it's very, very cool. Are you going to watch the fight? You have Netflix. It's 8 p.m. Friday night.
So I think I'll be streaming at the time.
You should stream the fight.
You
should play Punch-Out while the fight is playing.
Have 2 screens going. Yeah. Be like, okay, I should do like a simulated fight.
That would be
sick.
And
see who wins.
Oh, that would be great.
I don't know if I could stream it though. Unless it's like on
maybe
YouTube.
Not.
If it's like somewhere where you don't have to pay for the service.
Yeah, it won't be. Probably day after you might be able to find it. But yeah. Did you ever play Fight Night?
Fight Night? No.
Dude, I used to play the crap out of that game. And I forgot it existed until right now. But I want to play it. I'm sure there are much better ones.
There was a bunch of them.
Was that EA?
Yeah. Wasn't there Fight Night, like, I think it went up to round 4?
Yeah.
Game 4. And then they did like Fight Night Champion, which I did play that. So I technically did play a Fight Night.
Was it good?
Yeah, Champion was cool because you follow a story kind of like Creed, where you start like in like the lowest rank, like you're doing what do you call it, like exhibition matches in a gym, and you raise up through the ranks. So it's
cool.
Yeah, and it's got a story mode with it, which is neat.
That sounds fun. Yeah, I guess to wrap that, I would say Countdown is definitely a keeper. If you miss this one, like I said, seems like they're going to be doing a series or making a series out of this on Netflix. So any other live sports events that they have upcoming, I'm very curious to see what else they do.
Yeah.
Because the whole live thing has been pretty interesting to watch.
Again, I didn't even know they did it. So
dude, it's wild. Neat. Like the
Christopher Walken.
It's so funny what I was just going to say. Chris Rock messed up one of his jokes, like while he was like, and it's live.
Yeah.
So you just see it and he calls it out. He's like, oh, I just messed that up. and it just is what it is. Like,
yeah, because you always get the edited versions when you watch the comedy specials or whatever.
Yeah, very interesting. I would watch Countdown and watch the fight tonight or whenever you're listening to this.
Right, it might be over, but go watch it anyway.
Dude, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm anxious.
What if something crazy happens and you just told everybody to watch it? What if he like snaps someone's arm and it's like broken the other direction?
Well, yeah, I mean that's exciting.
I guess so.
You probably saw it on a reel or something
right,
already.
You probably couldn't escape it.
You know what we're doing? I have band practice on Friday nights. I think we're gonna jam, and then I'm bringing a monitor, and my friend's gonna bring his laptop, and we're gonna hook up the fight at the jam space and order some pizza.
That's sick.
I'm so excited.
I'm
so excited.
I hope it's a good fight.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Me too. I hope it's a good fight or it's over quick and it's on Tyson's side.
Yeah.
You know, if it ends fast, we'll just watch Happy Gilmore or something.
Yeah, you're connected to Netflix. So you can watch anything.
Exactly. Watch anything. And speaking of Netflix,
And watching anything.
you know what's not on Netflix?
Not what we're about to talk about.
Junji Ito's Uzumaki.
Uzumaki.
Yeah.
I have the book over here because I'm also going to be talking about the book. But since we're in TV, I'm not even going to pull it out.
Wow.
I'm not even.
No books
All
allowed.
right, hold on. You can look. If you're watching the video,
Look at this doofy Muppet dog.
he is such a Muppet. That's a good way to put it.
Thanks.
So if you're watching the video, here's the book. And if you're listening, this is what a book sounds like.
I wish you could see the way he's opening and closing it.
My hands are sweaty.
Never
so
seen anyone do that to a book.
That's what a book sounds like if you've never read one. But yes, Uzumaki, which was a 4-episode special like Halloween series that came out. So they released it every week in October on Adult Swim specifically, but also HBO Max or Max. I keep calling it HBO Max.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter really. That's how people know.
No, I do it too, just so people know.
That's because that's what it should be.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is a recreation of the probably Junji Ito's most popular manga.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, I know of it. The imagery, even in the show, was
Yes.
familiar to me,
Yep.
and I'm someone who's never read it. So it's got to be one of his most well-known works.
Yeah, I would say iconic is probably an understatement because everyone's seen the image of this woman with the spiral in her head.
Yeah.
And it's like half her face and it's crazy. And the story with it's pretty cool. But so yes, this has been actually adapted before into a live action film.
Really?
Yeah, it's huge. It's been adapted in a bunch of different things. I want to say there was an adaptation anime-wise at some point.
Yeah.
But I think it was like a short story version but I don't. I'm probably wrong about it. But I just remember there was more than just the movie.
You can't be wrong about everything you just said.
I can be wrong about some things.
It's true.
But this is a serious attempt at recreating this story from beginning to end. They try to capture every little bit of it. So I watched it in October because I wanted the Halloween spirit, and I haven't read the book up until that point because I just thought this would be a cool way to like get into it, and then it'll motivate me more to read the book to see the comparisons.
Yeah,
because I've had the book since last Christmas.
It's a very beautiful book.
It's very beautiful. This is like the special edition. Blah blah blah.
I like that a lot.
It's nice. So, episode 1 of Uzumaki, incredible.
That is the only one I watched. I watched it this morning because I wanted to make sure I knew a little something about it. And I gotta say, right off the bat, there's something about this animation that is like, it's haunting, but it's also like so beautiful for some reason.
Are you talking more of the style or just how the motion of the characters?
I think it's the motion.
Yeah, everything comes together really well.
I just like the moment you see. I forget her name, but I think it's like one of the first characters you see.
Kyrie?
Yeah. I was just like, why does this look so? I don't know if it's because it's black and white mixed with that sort of like traditional anime style, and it's fewer frames, and like there's just something about it that like
it moves almost like a motion comic, but not to the point where it looks stiff.
Right.
It's very much like you feel like you're just watching the manga be like the pages being flipped for you.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. It's like a motion comic, but those feel like cheaply animated. I don't even mean that in like a disparaging way. I've definitely enjoyed my share of motion comics, but this it still feels like an animated show, and there's just something about it that's like, it's almost like you ever see a claymation that's, it almost looks like computer generated, and I'm sure some are actually, where it's like, it still has that claymation feel to it, but it's so fluid that it just gives it kind of a different character. And this, like, right away, I was like, I love looking at this, like everything about it. And the episode itself is crazy. I love a story that just drops you into something that is like, okay, I guess this is the concept and this is what's happening. And there's not a lot of lead up. It's just, scene by scene, everything escalates.
Because it's almost like an anthology story because...
that's how it felt to me.
Yeah, and that's pretty much prevalent throughout the whole story, is it's about this town being cursed by the spiral. And so it's a bunch of different little stories, usually centered around Kyrie and her boyfriend and her family and like other characters come into play. But it's usually her, and we're following her through her perspective of all these other characters dealing with the curse of the town.
Yeah.
Specifically the spiral. It either messes with your mind or causes physical alterations. And it's super fascinating because every story is unpredictable. You have no idea where it's going to go. You don't know, like, there's one story in particular where Kyrie's hair comes to life and it goes into spirals.
Weird.
And the story that comes with that is, and I'll be the first to say it, it's bonkers. You are reading this understanding that nothing will make sense. Things will just be crazy, sometimes comical. And that's a lot of Junji Ito stuff where it's like, it's so scary, it's funny, or it's so funny, it's scary. Like, he blurs the line so well between the two where it's so ridiculous, but you're like, that's actually terrifying.
Yeah.
And then you'll get the craziest, scariest imagery you'll ever see, like the next scene over. So it does a really good job and follows the manga pretty closely, at least for this first episode.
Okay.
And the reason why the first episode is such a huge deal is because they had a certain budget for it. And what was assumed was they would get that budget for every single episode for the series. However,
I'm sensing a butt.
After episode 1 came out, people loved it. They gave it 10 out of 10, loved it. Episode 2 came out, the internet exploded because the animation quality takes a massive nosedive.
Oh, weird.
Horrifically. It feels like a different studio animated it. And not so much visually. It's still black and white. It still like follows the style.
Yeah.
But the animation is bad.
Really?
Like, stiff and slow, and characters won't move, and you'll see glitches where like parts of the ground are like folded over stairs, and it's really bad. Not to the point where it's unwatchable, but you'll notice it for sure.
That sounds borderline because, like, how many shows do you see that have like
Never.
Yeah.
Like, it's very rare to see it. Either they have the budget for the season and they usually just like know how to put the money where it needs to go. So the story after the fact, after episode 2 came out, the producer of the show came out and said, so here's what happened. They didn't name any names because they didn't want to get in trouble, but they said someone said, okay, you had this budget for the first episode. Now you have the same budget for the next 3 episodes. Oof. And so they either had to cancel the show and not put it out at all, just release episode 1 and not do any other episodes, or do what they can and release the whole series as it was.
Interesting.
And so they decided to release the whole series because they felt like it would be a dishonor to everybody who worked on it. So episode 1 was incredible. Episode 2 through 4 is rough.
Yeah?
It's really rough. Now, I will say the story is still interesting. If you've never read it before, this is still a pretty good abridged version of it. You do hit a lot of the high points. They do skip out on a couple pretty scary stories, which I assume that was budgetary reasons, or they combine stories and they make it so instead of it being like, one story by itself, they add elements from other stories.
Yeah.
So they could get all of it in there, but you just get kind of like, lack of a better word, bastardized versions of these stories where they're just not as creepy, or again, they skip elements. Again, this is all due to the budget and how they had to do it.
Wow.
So it is disappointing in the sense of the loss of animation, and having now read the book, the lack of some severely scary stories. But I would still recommend it because it is a pretty okay watch. It's still cool to see this animated, and there are still like a majority of the stories in there.
That's cool.
And if you're not one who wants to spend, like $40 on the book to get the full story, or if you just prefer watching things over reading it, it's still doable. It still works.
It's not a huge commitment either.
No, 4 episodes, each under 30 minutes.
Yeah, the first episode's 23 minutes.
Yeah.
So, that is a bummer to hear that it changes that much, but it is kind of cool. Like, I like to know that it differs enough from the source material that it's worth exploring both.
Yeah, and it's not differs in a good way. Like, it doesn't. I will say,
all right, my bad.
It differs because you lose content. I
That's
do
a
recommend you definitely read the book because there is, again, extra stories. I will say it does have a different ending than or I guess a continuation of the ending than the original story does.
Okay.
So there is that, because I haven't finished reading it, but I did skip to the end because I know how it ends. But there is a bonus chapter in the special edition book that's not in the show at all. But then the story ends in one way in the book and continues a little bit more in the show.
Weird. Okay.
So it is fascinating because what they do in the show, I think, is a little bit better than the original ending. Only because there's just a little bit more. You get a little bit more. So just something to be aware of if you do watch it and read it. At the very least, it's worth watching just for the continuation of the ending, I guess.
Yes.
But even with the stiff animation and stuff, it's still a pretty all right watch.
Yeah.
Not horrible. And again, the animation, it may get bad, but it's definitely not unwatchable.
Okay.
But I'd recommend it a very low keeper.
Low keeper. Not high priority.
No. Yeah, you could read it over watching it, but again, if you don't want to read it, watching it's a good choice.
Okay. Yeah, and 4 episodes, dude, that's nothing.
That's nothing. Right. That's the thing. The commitment's so small, so it's like bing, bang, boom.
Could watch that on accident.
Yeah.
I got nothing else on TV.
Yeah, I got to go to books.
Wow.
Have you read anything good lately?
I'm Tim. I read books.
Oh, so like I said, Uzumaki, the book.
The book.
Freaking incredible.
Oh, okay, cool.
Incredible. So I didn't realize how many details were actually missing from the show until I read it. And the thing about the show is it does kind of go through everything quickly. You know, I think it's a story that needs to breathe and like give you more time with these characters. And there are some parts in the show that felt like they really like jumped certain story elements.
Yeah.
And the book fills in all those slots, if you will.
Here's a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think, because I know some people who once they watch a movie, they get bummed out when they find out there's a book based on it because they're like, no, I don't want to read the book because I know what happens.
Oh, I get you.
But, which I get. I totally understand that perspective. But do you think the ideal way to enjoy something, if you wanted to enjoy both, is to watch the movie or show first, because that's almost always abridged or changes details or leaves things out? Because in this, you saw the show, and now you're reading the book and seeing how much more is in there.
Yes.
So, like, you enjoyed the show, but now you're like, the book is better.
Right, because I think if you read the book first, it makes the show or adaptation disappointing.
The whole time you're just watching it like, why are they not doing...
Why they remove that? Why they do this? So what is unique about this is, when let's talk like Harry Potter, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, you're reading the words on the book and putting your imagination in there.
True.
The anime compared to the manga is almost like 1-to-1.
Right.
A lot of scenes are similar. The animation is seriously like, it almost looks like Junji Ito came in and was like, hey, here's all my art. Do it.
That's very true, which I found fascinating. Like, you got to bring in other animators and have them imitate his art style.
I don't know how much he had input on this, though, because, again, if the budget was dropped so much, I don't know if he was like part of it or...
I didn't even see him in the credits of the first one other than based on.
Yes. So maybe that's it. He just sold the rights and was like, hey, go nuts.
Go crazy.
Go crazy.
Yeah.
So it is a unique thing because, I'm looking visually at both the show and the manga, and there are a lot of things I'm like, oh, I remember this. Oh, that detail's different. Oh, this lady's naked. She was not naked in the show. So there are some differences that I would say the biggest thing is how scary they make like some of the creatures in it.
Oh.
In the book, it's drawn horrifically. Like, it is Junji Ito to a T. Terrifying, scarifying. It's all the things you expect. And when you watch it in the show, they're a little bit diluted. Like, they're still scary facial expressions and stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hit as hard as it does in the book. Because you'll get like a full 2-pager of this monster's mouth or like this terrifying bloody creature. And in the show, it's just not as strong.
Yeah.
Dude. Dude, there's good stuff everywhere. But the manga is incredible. Oh my God.
Sorry.
Brett just broke it. But yeah, it's a very strong story. Again, very wacky. But I find it so fascinating to read through. So yeah, I'd recommend watching the show and then reading the book because this is the better experience. But the show will, again, give you kind of a little bit of a fun ride, a good setup for it.
Yeah.
But what was your question specifically? Just...
Do you think that the move is to watch first, whatever the thing is, and then read the stuff?
I think so.
But then you do get spoiled on things.
Right, because then, especially if you're reading a book, you're like, there are some stories in here that I like don't love, and so I kind of skimmed through them because I was like, well, I've seen it already,
right?
And it's almost 1-to-1. But with a book, you have to read every word.
It's tough. Yeah, like Harry Potter. Would you want to watch all the Harry Potters and then read it? Probably not.
It would be tough, but again, you would get that information. It's almost like watching like an extended cut or reading an extended cut.
Right,
but you're right,
true.
you are hitting a lot of the main points, so you already know the story. So it's like, am I wasting my time because I know the story?
Right.
But there are side stories, there's extra bits that are, I think, important.
We love the extra bits.
We do. But it is a tough, and even this, like, this is 800, 900 pages. And again, there are a couple pages I skimmed over because I was like, well, I've already seen it. So I looked at the art, but I was like, I don't need to read it because I know the story.
I'm not capable of doing that.
No, you feel like you have to like actually
literally
read it?
From like cover to cover. I even have to read like the flyleaf, like the dedication page.
Yeah.
Like, I can't not. I'm trying to turn the page and I'm like, oh, thanks to Lisa and Frank and
Lisa and Frank specifically.
published in 1996.
I just need to start it.
Please, chapter 1.
So yes, this thankfully is a lot of imagery, so I can like be like, oh, that's cool. Next page. Oh, that's cool. Next page. So it helps. But yeah, when it comes to an actual book, I try to get every detail. I like to read the like afterwards and the like prologues and all the things people throw in because I like to hear the author's thoughts as well, like those who wrote it. So
it's important.
But yeah, highly recommend Uzumaki, the book. That is a keeper for sure.
Keeper.
For sure. The manga, the book, whatever. Brett.
What?
Here's the other thing I got to talk about in comic books / literature /
I mean, I just say books and comics.
Books and comics, whatever you want to call it. I have been...
Newspaper.
Yeah, that's something you can read too.
Pamphlets. We're going to review pamphlets next week.
Yeah, I'll find a good one to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast before, but a couple months ago, I started reading the Tomb Raider comics.
I think you did mention
The
it.
Top Cow ones.
Yeah.
So I did talk about it before.
We talked about it, yeah.
So I have been reading these online because I'm a little sneak. And I also had no idea that they actually like had collections come out. I thought it was only the comics.
Yeah.
What I learned the other day is there was a series that came out, a set called the Tomb Raider Archives.
Oh.
And so this was a 4-series set, which each volume collected like 15 comics. So you would get basically the whole series.
That's pretty good. These are the Top Cow ones.
Yes, Top Cow ones. I believe they were released by Dark Horse. I think Dark Horse bought Top Cow. I don't think Top Cow's around anymore, are they?
No, I don't believe so. I'm not really sure the history there.
I didn't look too much into it, so I'll come back next week with the information.
Yeah, some crossover there.
But I found that these exist, which is great because I, again, only thought you could get the actual issues of the comic. So there's 50 comics, and there's a ton of crossovers, and then there's a spin-off called like Tomb Raider Journeys or something, which I don't know much about that. But anyways, the Archives collects just the main 50 comics, the main series. So Brett, if someone were to say, hey, you can buy this. Let's go with retail price first. What do you think this retailed for originally?
So one of them has 15 issues.
Yes.
I'm going to say $29.99.
That was nailed it on the head. $30.
Yeah.
They sold for $30 back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, $40. $39.99 misread.
That's a little more than I thought.
Yeah, they're hardcover.
Hardcover makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is the first and so far only re-release of this series.
Okay, hardcover, $39.99 for sure.
2016 is when these came out.
Wow.
So there's 4 of them. Now, Brett, let's say you go on. Let's have some fun. You go on Amazon.
Yeah.
And Amazon's usually not the top choice if you're looking for older stuff in general.
No. Yeah.
But I was just looking it up the other day because I was like, oh, these would be really cool to have.
Yeah.
Brett, what do you think it retails for currently on Amazon?
Here's what drives me crazy. I won't take long with this little bunny trail, but I've looked for Spawn collections. Spawn is not an unpopular comic book.
No.
But the old like Origins collections are very, very expensive. I haven't looked in a while. Maybe they've re-released them, but I did this a couple years ago because I wanted to read a bunch of stuff that growing up I collected a lot and didn't read nearly as much as I collected. And I remember finding I think they were called Origins. Maybe it was an omnibus, but it was the only way you could get the collections of the issues.
Yes.
Because, my Spawn collection is part of a historical tragedy. That's so vague for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, but I'm stopping it there.
It's a historical tragedy.
A historical tragedy. I'm going to say, for one,
For let's volume one, just the first volume.
$109.
$109. So that's a good guess. I think that would probably be like in the ballpark. I've seen some omnibuses and things go for like $200, right?
Yeah.
Volume 1, currently on Amazon. The only one available in acceptable condition, $1,150 for
What?
the first volume
Let me look at that.
of the Tomb Raider archives. Scrolling down, there are some cheaper ones that I just saw a second ago, but it is the first one that pops up on Amazon.
Good Lord.
$1,000 for 404
Dude,
pages.
are the issues worth anything? I have a couple of these.
So I was looking it up. The issues go for anywhere between, like you can find lots that are like $60 and they give you like 10 issues.
Yeah.
It feels like it would be cheaper to find all the issues than
What
it does
in the world?
getting these collections. So if you go to eBay, you can get the full series for $1,000. People will have 4 volumes. It's very, very rare. Like there are only 3
Why
or
is it
4
that
listings.
expensive?
Out of print. That's really it. That's the only thing I can think of.
I did not realize the Tomb Raider fan base was like that.
Was that crazy? So yeah, the volumes released every couple months.
Wow.
It was 2016 to the end of 2017. Dark Horse. So it's not like it was like an underground thing because Dark Horse published it.
No,
I mean,
I remember getting it off shelves.
Mm-hmm. It's insane.
I mean, I guess it's similar to the Spawn thing. Like Spawn was the most mainstream a comic can get, and I think they just didn't print a lot of the collections, and it's odd. I think what's weird about this is seeing a collection that's more expensive than the issues.
Right.
So they must have printed way more issues than they did the collections, and that's just very
because you
out of the
can't find
ordinary.
it anywhere. There's 4 listings on eBay right now. 3 of them are just volume 1, and then the other one's the full
And
series.
they're all around that price?
No, well, the individual ones are like $200 to $300. Wow. So this one's just the Amazon crazy, like, gotcha price.
Yeah.
So just be aware, if you're looking for things, don't ever go to Amazon. They give you obnoxious prices.
I can't believe that's listed for that.
For $1,000. Yeah. So you can find volume 1 for roughly $200 to $300, give or take.
But then the other one's even full series, $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, you will probably be spending $1,000 to get, but I haven't seen volume 2, 3, or 4 available
Individually?
Yeah. Wow. And insanely enough, yesterday, the day after I put this in our notes, a new collection was announced. A new Tomb Raider comic book collection.
What?
I was like, am I living in my world? Like, how could I didn't know this existed, and now there's 2 of them.
That's wild.
So this new one, take a guess. So hold on, let me give you the details.
Yeah,
on it
give me the
before.
deets.
But it is a new one coming out next year.
Yeah.
It's called the Tomb Raider Colossal Collection.
Okay.
And what's weird about this one is it contains issues 1 through 24 and 26 through 34.
Why?
It skips 25, and I'll have to look it up. 25 must be like
a one-off or something?
a special issue, but why it's not included in this collection, I have no idea.
That's weird.
So this contains essentially comics 1 through 34 minus 25. What do you think? I don't know why.
Is it hardcover?
Let me see. Hardcover, yep.
It's got to be $60.
$94.
Ooh.
95 technically.
I mean, that's a hell of a lot cheaper than $1,000.
You know I'm gonna freaking pre-order.
Yeah. That's pretty good. And you're at there were 50 original issues?
50. So
yeah, that's
realistically, they should have. This one says volume 1, so there should be 2.
You'll probably see how this sells, and then
and then they might do one with the crossovers and the journeys and things like that. But so it took them from 2017 to now to re-release this series. Yeah,
that's so crazy.
And before that, no one could read them. They just couldn't be read because, well, unless you bought either the comics or the out of print Dark Horse comics.
I swear you can find back issues. Like I have some sitting in my long boxes at home.
Yeah,
right
they're not hard to find. Those are all over eBay.
Yeah.
Again, prices are all over the place. Maybe there's some issues that are more expensive than others because I haven't really looked too much in the individual issues, which would be awesome to have too.
Totally.
But yeah, it was blowing my mind, and it just makes me think like how many comic series there are out there that are so difficult to get your hands on or read because they reprinted them only once and they're out of print, so people are selling them for thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Because they just haven't been available. Now, digitally, They don't have these available, but you can find the comics online. That's where I've been reading them.
And those, I mean, you can speak to it more, but my recollection is that they're very worth it. They're really good.
Yeah, I've read just the first arc so far, and it's really fun. The art, we've talked about it before. The art is very 90s.
Oh, very fan servicey.
Very fan servicey. Even some of the covers,
especially the Top Cow stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's enjoyable if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, yeah. That's questionable stuff. It depends. Yeah. Some of them are so over the top. I remember I used to listen to this comic podcast, and they used to joke about the Witchblade covers. And Witchblade was such a cool series, but some of the covers and some of the art was just so exploitative.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if that's something you try to avoid, be aware going in.
And even to your point, there are Tomb Raider Witchblade crossover comics.
Yes,
and those covers are insane.
Yeah. They're targeting a particular audience.
Yes,
I'd say with
in
those.
the 90s they certainly were.
But the stories are great. They're so cool what they're doing, and Witchblade and all the powers and stuff were so cool. But I know as a kid there were certain covers I was not allowed to have.
Nope. Certain comics even that are just like, oops.
Yeah, like maybe you don't get to read this series.
But yeah, I was just blown away. It was exciting to discover that it existed, that there was a collection. Then I was sad that it was $1,000 or a couple $100, depending on where you're looking. And then to realize that they're doing a new series or a new collection, I was very excited.
That's awesome. What a roller coaster.
Seriously, it all happened within this week. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And I really had no idea. It's weird because obviously Tomb Raider is one of the biggest, video game properties of all time. And you think of all the peripherals. We've got 3 movies from like different eras. We've got, I don't even know how many games. Are we in the 20s yet?
Maybe.
At least
close.
12 to 15, something like that.
Yep.
Because I'm thinking of every era of console since PlayStation. We've had multiple.
Yeah, because like... there's the original 6 that's like pre-PlayStation.
There were
2.
6, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had like Angel of Darkness, and then like Legends Anniversary, Underworld, and then the trilogy.
Yeah.
And then technically, if you count the like arcade games,
I forgot about those.
Yeah, 2 of those. There's been
Temple of Osiris was that one of them?
Yep.
So I'm bringing that up to say like I haven't really thought about how Die Hard the fan base might be for some of these kind of like peripheral things like comic books and stuff like that. And man, after the anime coming out and they're putting out this new collection, I can't wait to see what the next game we get is.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know what they're working on.
Me neither, because I mean that the last trilogy is obviously great.
Yep.
I'm really curious to see what we get next, because especially with next gen graphics and stuff like that.
Have you? So they released the collection of the remastered collection, 1, 2, and 3. Have you played it or did you get it? You played 1. Wait, like in the remastered collection?
Wait, remastered of the originals?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
they came out. No, that's okay. Because they did come out with like the definitive edition.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. I played definitive edition of the Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider.
Yes. So no, it's the original trilogy.
No.
So that came out earlier this year.
That's right, I forgot about that. Did you play any?
Yes, so I started 1. Dude, it does the Halo thing where you can switch between the retro graphics and modern graphics with one button.
That must be...
Every 5 minutes or every 20 seconds, I'm like, old graphics, new graphics.
That is so funny.
And it's crazy because these areas I have like burned in my skull.
Yeah.
And like the dinosaur and the wolves and the bats and like seeing them both in a much modern, like beautiful style. And the old style is beautiful too in its own way.
Yeah.
But it's really cool.
That's very cool.
Modern controls, so you can play either with tank or the modern style, so it's much easier to play.
I want to play him right away.
It was on sale on Xbox for $15 like 2 weeks ago.
For all 3 of them?
Yeah, it's all one collection.
I'm going to take a look.
Because it does have a physical copy too if you decide to go that way.
I do kind of, but for $15?
I know. It's probably not on sale anymore, but...
Shut up for a second.
Yeah.
You're bumming me out.
I'm sorry.
I have never beaten any of the original games.
Me neither.
I never got to the end of 1.
Nope.
But I played up to... Like, how far is the dinosaur in? Like, I remember getting to that and being like, I must be near the end.
That's like World 1 still.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I'm like,
it's like the boss of the first. But
yeah,
going through these games, they were hard.
They're hard.
Like there's
Super
secrets
hard.
everywhere. The jumps are tough. The enemies like destroy you. It's still really fun, and thankfully I have my nostalgia and childhood knowledge to help.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people would struggle because it's still like the game's still the same. Even with modern controls,
Yeah.
it's still like tricky. But
How fun was diving from the highest possible point?
and then breaking her neck.
Oh my gosh. Or just jumping and you just fall for a minute and then she goes, like, dude, so funny.
Yeah.
Legends was, I don't know if it's just my memory, but I loved that game.
That game was
so
wicked
much.
cool.
I had so much fun with it. It was just like playing the coolest action game ever.
Yeah, because it had some really cool like set pieces.
Action
and-
movie is what I meant to say, but
Yeah, no, you got
same
it.
thing. Same thing. But yeah, I still have the 2 new ones. I have Rise and Shadow of the Tomb Raider to play.
Yep.
And I would love to go back and play those remasters.
And then they announced 4, 5, and 6 coming out next March, I think.
Those I remember zero about.
I don't think I've ever played them. It's like Last Revelation,
Yeah.
Chronicles,
Sure.
and there's one more. I didn't know there was 6, or I didn't know there was 3 others after that.
All on PlayStation?
Dreamcast, PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there's the original 3, which is just Tomb Raider 1 through 3.
Dude,
I know.
what other games had that many sequels on PlayStation?
Seriously, there's 6 of them. I don't know. I had to see what the other one, because they might include Angel of Darkness on the PS2, but I don't know. I thought there was 6 and then Angel of Darkness. But
Yeah, no, you're right. I remember there being 6 on the original because I had them all for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of another series.
Oh,
any
shoot.
of that.
I wonder what those are worth because I definitely sold those at some point.
The classic ones?
Yeah.
I don't know what Tomb Raider's going for. Now that they have the collection, they're probably going down in value.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's
But yeah,
pretty
like
cool.
Crash is the only one I can think of. Technically Resident Evil.
3. They only had 3.
You had Survivor.
Oh,
You
I forgot about
had
Survivor.
Code Veronica. Was that on PlayStation? Or is that
2.
Dreamcast?
Oh, yeah, Dreamcast and PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2.
They put out Code Veronica X. I don't believe there was a PlayStation version of
No,
that.
I think you're right.
I think Nemesis was the last of the main series.
Yeah, and then Survivor, and then like Crash has 3 games, and then the kart racing, Crash Team
6 is
Racing.
6 games is crazy.
I don't think they were all on PlayStation though.
No?
I know there's one on Dreamcast, but I just don't know if it was on Dreamcast and PlayStation, or if it was just Dreamcast.
Yeah, because Dreamcast was a little more advanced.
yeah. That was more like PS2 era.
Right.
It sucks because it was like in between.
Yeah.
So it was like it was strong like a PS2, but it came out like a couple years before. So some people still see it as like part of the PS1 and 64
it was in
era.
between.
But it ended up dying anyway. So it doesn't
Gosh,
matter.
remember how good the PS2 is?
Oh, I still. Dude, there's
love
so many things I need to play on it.
So good. So are you going to get the archives and continue reading from there? Or are you going to keep reading digitally?
I want to get that Colossal Collection.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah, not the archives.
Right. I'm not touching that one. But it comes out in June next year. So I don't think I can wait.
Yeah.
So I probably will still read them online.
Sure.
But I do hopefully when I still intend to buy the collection even if I read it because I just
Yeah.
want it. So hopefully that money can go to the right people.
Yeah,
and I won't be a thief.
You won't be a thief?
No, because I intend to buy it. It's just I'm reading it early.
Sure.
Yep.
And then you can
Pre-order.
flip through your favorite pages when you get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can touch them in person. All right. Can I take us to food quickly before we end?
Yeah.
I mean, he almost said no.
No, I didn't.
Delicious.
All right, tell me about the Death Nut.
Oh, dude.
So-
I was my own nemesis for this. So my friend Nick's birthday happened at the end of October.
Nice. Happy birthday, Nick.
Yeah, happy birthday. And so for his birthday, I got him the Death Nuts on top of just some other goofy things.
You got to explain what that is.
So the Death Nut, if you don't know,
Can't just say, I got my friend the Death Nuts.
I got my friend the Death Nuts.
Uh-huh.
So this is very akin to the One Chip Challenge. It's this crazy, super spicy challenge. The Death Nut specifically is 5, I guess, sets of nuts.
Yeah.
And they get progressively spicier. And the challenge, essentially, is you have to eat a handful of nuts, however many you want, ideally the whole thing if you're doing it by yourself. And you have to chew it all, swallow, and then wait 30 seconds to a minute without like giving up or drinking milk, and then go to the next nut all the way to the last one. And then you have to wait 5 minutes on the final nut. or final nuts, again, without drinking anything. That's the challenge.
Each level is like, how many nuts do they give you?
So originally it was like 4 nuts.
Okay.
In this one, we did the Death Nut 3.0. I can't talk at all.
Yeah.
And so this it had to be like 12 to 15 nuts. Oh. So we were playing the 2-player version.
They leveled up the spiciness and how many they give you?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Nuts. So we were playing the 2-player version, which is essentially you split the nuts in half. And so the thing about this challenge, I did a little bit of research beforehand. So I gave it to my friend, and he was like, we should do it on stream. And I'm like, I'm so mad I got you those nuts, because of course we have to do it on stream.
Yeah, obviously.
So we did it. We started the challenge. So I did research before, and the one chip challenge, at least at the time we had it, was like 3.4 million Scoville, which at the time was the spiciest pepper out there, like the Carolina or the Scorpion, whatever the top level was.
Was it the Ghost? No, it was Reaper.
Carolina Reaper. Carolina Reaper, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever the top nut at the time was, which we did in 2018, 2019?
Probably something like
that.
That video's still on our channel.
Yes.
If you want to look it up.
Feel free to check it out.
It's I don't remember what the quality's like, but
it works.
It was bad. It was
Yes.
one of the worst things I've ever eaten. It tasted terrible and it hurt like hell for so
bad.
long.
And the flavor, dude.
Oh, it
still
was
to this day.
awful. It was awful.
So that was 3.4 million Scoville.
What was the Death Nut 3.0?
Death Nut 3.0, the final nuts that you eat for this challenge were ranked at 16 million Scoville. 16 million. It was 4 times spicier than the spiciest thing I've ever had in my life.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because I can't imagine the feeling of the one chip challenge multiplied that many times.
And I don't even know how you hit anything hotter than that.
Yeah, how do they make it that hot?
I don't know. They said they used like pure capsaicin. They were like throwing out these crazy
know what that is.
Super ultra pepper X. Like it sounds like chemical death.
It sounds like using breath spray that's just pepper spray.
Yeah,
just
but pepper spray is ranked lower than the one chip on the Scoville, which is crazy. So we go through the first nut already immediately. Spicier than the one chip challenge.
Wow.
Had to be.
And they don't tell you the level of the nuts leading up to it, so you don't even know.
I bet you could look it up, but they only told me the last nut that I saw. So, immediately, in my opinion,
that's brutal.
Spicier than the one chip, but the spice was, it was, I don't know how to describe it. It was like less painful, and the flavor was good.
That makes a huge difference.
Huge difference.
The one chip tasted so gross, and your throat's on fire.
Yes.
It was just a nightmare experience.
So in my opinion, I think it was spicier. It must have not been because the one chip stopped me. Like I was like dead. But the first one, like it hurt. It was like painful.
Okay.
But it was still like manageable.
Yeah.
I was in pain, but it wasn't too bad.
Sure.
So maybe not spicier, but it's close. Second one, not too bad, honestly.
Okay.
It was, again, a little bit spicier. I think because we're compounding these spicy nuts, they just keep going and going.
Yeah.
So the second one, it went down pretty all right. It was still spicy. We were still in a lot of pain. Sucked. And I was like, there's no way we'll make it a 5. So we get to the third nut, and I eat them, and I'm like, feeling pretty good. I think my throat was numb. I was at the point where it just like wasn't too bad anymore.
Sure.
I was super uncomfortable.
Of course.
And as I'm sitting there, like we have to wait a minute or so till we get to the next nuts. I'm chewing it. I'm swallowing it. I'm like, this is good.
It's good.
And I feel like a little burp, and I'm like, okay, I'll burp. And then I started coughing. And all of whatever I ate for lunch came flying up my throat. But it didn't come out as vomit. It just stopped right here. And I'm like, I think I'm going to throw up. And so this was live on stream. This wasn't just like me and Nick hanging out. And I was like, and I put my finger in front of my mouth, and I'm like, ooh, and I projectile vomited. You don't see it. I get up and run, and I grab a bag, and you can just hear me go, and I throw up so hard.
Oh, no.
Dude.
What did it feel like?
It burned. It burned coming up. Like, I felt it all in my throat. It was really spicy coming out. And, throwing up sucks. I will say, though, I felt great after.
Did you?
I don't know if, like, your vomit juices help relax some spiciness.
There probably is some kind of like acidic balance that takes place.
Yeah, and so I felt like the spiciness felt like it was dying down pretty quick.
Oh, like a dungeon dragon.
Yeah, but I lost my lunch. I had ramen that day, and it all came up.
Could you gauge how well you chew your noodles by what came out?
I didn't look. I was wearing a pizza costume, so I threw up on that. And I threw up all over the place.
Not the pizza costume.
It was very sad.
Where? Was it in here?
No, I had a bag, like I said, and I got outside the room, so outside over there.
Ew.
But yeah, so I got to the 3rd level. I don't know how spicy it was, but it made me throw up. So
3rd out of 6?
Out of 5.
Out of 5?
Yep.
Dude, you were close.
We were close.
You ever going to try it again?
I don't know. Nick wants to do 4 and 5, but we can't start on 4.
He stopped when you stopped?
Yeah, because he didn't throw up. He held it together.
So no burping next time.
Yeah, burping. And that was the problem with the one chip. I almost threw up because I had like a hiccup burp cough combination.
Oof, I had that. It didn't make me nauseous though.
No, and I don't even feel nauseous. Like I didn't feel nauseous. It just literally all came up.
Do you have a strong gag reflex?
No, I don't think so.
No? I do. So if I start to gag on something, that can like trigger it. But
wait, when you say strong one, do you mean like I can hold my lunch down, or like if
no,
I start
like a gag reflex, like if when doctors do tongue depressors, does that make you gag?
Yes,
me too.
Yeah.
So
mine's
that's your gag reflex.
I gag brushing my teeth.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, if I go too far back, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because of that, like if something got caught in the back of my throat, like I wonder if that's what happened to you.
It all came up. It literally just felt like
that's so gross.
I didn't even feel like I had to throw up until it all came up, and I was like,
that's terrible.
It was nasty, but
oh man.
So the Death Nut, I do not recommend.
Sleeper. I'd cross that off your list.
Not even fun for a gift to give a friend, unless you don't like them. Then go for it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you gift that to an enemy this holiday season. That's crazy, dude.
Disgusting.
Ugh. Well, I'm glad you had that experience, so I never have to.
Yeah, that could have been a video for us, the Death Nut Challenge.
Dude, I question every time I watch a spicy like food challenge, I'm like, oh, maybe I'd give that a shot. And then the end of it, I'm like, no, I don't ever want to do that to myself. But maybe we will at some point. I don't know.
I don't know if I can handle my heat anymore.
Would you try the old one chip challenge if we could get our hands on that?
Oh, it'd be so rancid.
I don't want to.
I mean, yeah, I almost threw up last time we did it, so there's a chance I could throw up again, but
nice.
Nice.
So bad. I am not going to eat the Death Nut.
Nope.
And I think that's the end of episode 302 of the Keep Up Podcast. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. You're the coolest. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Tim.
Yeah?
Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and your stuff?
You guys can find me at Collection Revolution all over the place. Right. That's on Twitter. That's on Instagram. That's on Threads. That's on YouTube. That's on TikTok. I mean, wherever social media may be, I will be there waiting. Even Blue Sky. That's where everyone's going right now.
Blue Sky? What's Blue Sky?
It's like an alternative to Twitter because everyone hates Twitter now. So they're moving to Blue Sky.
Yeah, cool.
So, get caught up, Brett.
I refuse.
And Brett, where can everyone find you and your strangely smelling pinky toes?
That's so uncomfortable. Best place to go is Instagram. You can find me at This Drink I Like It. I told you I like drinks. Didn't we tell you?
Oh, it makes sense.
It does. That is my personal Instagram. There's a link tree there that will get you to my music, other podcast work, all kinds of stuff.
Did we talk about how wrinkly my shirt is?
We didn't talk about it. We went through the whole episode without talking about it.
Very sad.
We also didn't talk about how this is a brand new
my heart.
The Keep Up Podcast merch design.
It won't be this wrinkly.
No, it doesn't come this wrinkly.
But it's cool.
So you can find me on Instagram, and there's a link tree there where that's pretty much where I update stuff when I update stuff. And you can follow us all over the place at The Keep Up Podcast. That's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And
dude, we've been pumping out content like it's nothing.
There is a lot going on the socials. Would love to see you over on YouTube if you're not already subbed.
That reminds me, I had to get the new video ready today.
Yeah, you should do that.
I'm gonna do it right now.
We are going to wrap it up. Tim's going to do what's called End Babble, where he talks nonsense for about a minute and a half. Tim, your theme is the Death Nut Spiral. And that's it. We'll see you guys next time. Love you. Bye.
Okay. The Death Nut enters your soul like a poison. You swallow it, leading the flames of hell to fill your throat with nothing but the pain of 1,000 suns. You spiral into a deep, dark depression, following the pain of flames. The devil himself won't visit your throat because it is too hot for him to step upon. The death nuts take over. You become less of a man or woman and more of a fiend, a creature deeper than the lowest bowels of hell because you're that hot. The nuts burn your soul. You've sold your soul to not the devil, but the nut itself, and it will eat it like a breakfast sandwich, but it will eat it for lunch because it doesn't have any rules. And so I'll leave you with this. Don't do the death nut. Don't do any spicy challenges. Eat food because it's delicious and you need it to live. Don't eat it because it's painful. Thank you.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Very cool. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to the Keep Up podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also find us at patreon.com/thekeepup, where you can support us monthly for as little as $1 per month, and you can get yourself some cool Keep Up merch in our Etsy shop. Links are down below.
Ready to get started?
On what?
We're doing the bumpers, aren't we?
Yes, we're doing the bumpers. Do you have, you got the remote?
Of course.
Just hit record and we're ready to go.
All right.